All right, welcome. Today we'll talk about taxation. I say it like brace up for the tax ahead. We know about the tax bill or the tax policy that is going to be rolled out by the Tinubu's administration or regime. I'll call it regime. It's regimental because it's like military. I do not see anything democratic about the Tinubu's administration. So in January, he will roll out his taxation policy. But then we've heard of tax, tax, tax. What actually is tax? Tax is usually a charge of money by authority on persons or properties for public purposes. So a tax is a charge, like charges. For example, you go to withdraw money from the POS guy down street. You pay 100 naira to take 10,000 naira. That 100 naira is your charge. They charge you for that service. They offer you. That's tax. Or you bank with like First Bank, Access Bank, any of these banks, and then they take some money from your account, service charge. That's like taxation. But then you wouldn't call it tax per se. But they take that money because of the services that they offer you. So when you see that you get some debit alert from your bank, especially those that run savings accounts, when you see that you get debit alerts, sometimes it's the token they take from you for keeping your money for you. But unfortunately for Nigeria, anybody can just take anything from your account. Sometimes if you go to the bank to complain, you might even be harassed. You would even see people that would even be like, bro, how much? Because they take 100 naira. But you see that 100 naira, that 50 naira, if they took it from 2 million people, you will know how much it will amount to. But then when it's government, it's called tax, clear cut tax. But the essence of taxation is that you take that money to service the people. Everybody will want to pay tax. As a matter of fact, everybody in Nigeria pay tax. Nigeria is the country that have the highest number of taxpayers. We indiscriminately pay tax, but because we are not directly face to face with the tax collectors, we think we do not pay tax because we do not register. A lot of us do not register with the FIRS. A lot of Nigerians do not have a TIN, tax identification number. They think they don't pay tax. Nigerians virtually live on taxation. If you went to the mall like ShopRite or Spar, everything you paid for, everything you bought there, you pay tax. You pay tax for everything in Nigeria. But they'll come and lie to you, Nigerians don't pay tax, Nigerians don't pay tax. It's not true. Some will say it's a big men that pay tax. It's not true. Every Nigerian pays tax. But then, why do you want to tax Nigerians on top taxing, or rather taxation? So Nigeria is heavily taxed, and then you're coming with another taxation policy that will increase the taxation. And what do Nigerians get in return? Absolutely nothing. I don't want to talk about how they've been spending recklessly. I don't want to talk about fuel subsidy because I personally do not believe in fuel subsidy. I do not understand how You want to take you want to take the money from you want to stop a people from stealing the money, so you have to make the innocent citizens to pay. You can't just even understand what they mean whenever they talk about removal of fuel subsidy. So that's not what something I want to dwell upon right now, was the taxation. And it's crazy how Nigerians are just going about it as if it's not really something, especially when they've told us it is for high income earners. But that's not true. Everybody pay tax. An aspect of tax payment is that the high income earners will increase their amount for their goods and services. The high income earners are the ones who own the means of production. So when they increase so as to meet up with tax payments, prices of commodities, every commodity goes up. And when that happens, you want to pay so that you get commodities. So you've paid tax. Tax will only make the living condition to become extremely high, that the gap between the rich and the poor will be widened some more. Poverty will become the order of the day. So it's not something we should smile. I know nobody's smiling about it. The APC boys are doing all they can to make sure uh, people don't resist this new taxation policy, but we have we have to resist it. We have to resist it because it is going to serve us no good at all, no good at all. But here are Nigerians putting their energies to things that are not worth it. Talking about a pastor that left a girl to marry another girl, and the girl got angry. Those are the things we focus on. And when we focus on those kind of things, the politicians or the leaders, the unfortunate leaders, would not take us seriously, and it will make it easier for them to do whatever they want to do to us and with us and go away with it. Serious countries focus. Serious countries get involved in governance, like the citizens get involved in governance. But back in Nigeria, citizens don't get involved in governance. They don't care about governance. They don't even care how they are governed. They just don't want to be hungry. They just don't want to look for food, and they are not finding food. But that's not all about governance. Like this taxation policy that is being rolled out now. We are supposed to talk about it. We are supposed to resist it. We are supposed to do everything within our might to make sure it doesn't happen, but we are focused on other things. And when we do that, it happens, and it happens easily. We have to participate in governance. You do not necessarily need to become a member of a political party. You do not necessarily need to go and contest for election. You just have to ensure that we hold our leaders accountable. Any policy that they want to roll out that is anti people, since we call it a democratic dispensation, we have every right to say no. The energy we put in the celebrity news, the energy we put in music, the energy we put in reality shows, in comedies, in content creation. If we put half that energy into just speaking against the maltreatment by governance, they are not going to do a lot of the things they do. But when they see us putting our focus into other things, it will give them an easier means to do whatever they want to do, and then will turn around to complain. The politicians are not there to help situations. In fact, The role of government is to create problems so they can stay relevant. It is on us, the citizens, to say no, this policy is not to be allowed. And until we start doing that, until we start holding our leaders accountable, we will just keep complaining, and right before our eyes, the things that we complain about would just only get worse. So use whatever medium you have to speak against taxation. Nigeria is already heavily taxed. You know, when it gets to January and they roll out this taxation, yes, it is the high income earners that will pay, so it seems like, but like I said, they will push it back on the poor people. For example, if I used to pay 1 million naira to import, um, let's say, rice. I'm just using rice as an example, even though rice is been um, the embargo has been placed on rice for importation. But let's use anything rice, and then the new taxation policy demands that I would pay 1,500,000 naira for importation of that same rice. It's as simple as ABC. I am the one that will pay, right? I'll source for 500,000 to make it 1.5 million pay for tax, and I'll pay. So you do not expect me to spend another 500,000 to clear my rice and then come back to sell that rice the same amount I sold it when I paid 1 million naira. It's it's not possible in economics. It's not possible in business. I would rather increase the price of my commodity, the price of rice, so I would be able to recoup my 500,000 and even make extra. The thing about this thing is that it's always an opportunity for the high income earners to earn more. So at the end of the day, it is the poor people who suffer. And it is that same poor people that are not even attempting to do anything about it. A lot of people said, let's wait till January, we will resist it in January. If you can't resist it now, you wouldn't be able to resist it in January. It's as simple as that. By the time it gets to January, implementation have begun. And you see, there is something about the Tinubu's administration. The moment he starts something, he finds a way around it. He finds a way to make it work the way he wants it. He uses the media to distract people. He uses all manner of techniques to make sure he achieves his purpose. So there is the urgency of now, just like Dele Farotimi always say, there is no need to procrastinate. We need to stop that taxation policy. They've come up with one of their pranks and said someone forged or padded or whatever language they use on the tax bill, but that's not true. To the best of whatever I can think, I might not be speaking out of fact, but when you put two and two together, especially going by how this government has been operating, they just want to divert our attention to start thinking that something worse have come up, so that we would accept whatever it is that they are presenting. We should also be able to think twice as smart as they do, but we do not do that. We are losing focus. We put our focus on things that don't really matter. But until we are able to take governance as something that directly affects us, we would keep having these kind of things. And mind you, when it gets to the next election, As long as we are this docile, as long as we are this distracted, that Tinubu would be re-elected or will be returned, because I do not think there are elections. That same Tinubu will be returned to office. And from the way himself and the National Assembly are being romantic partners, he might decide on a third term and they will give it to him. It will happen because those of us who are supposed to resist these things, we are distracted. But no matter how distracted we are, no matter how distracted we've been, please let us resist this tax bill. It is anti people, it is anti economical, it is anti progress. It takes us 20 years backwards. There was the structural adjustment program. You know, what the structural adjustment program did to Nigeria has been unable to, in fact, remnants of the negative effects of the structural adjustment program is what is being suffered by Nigerians today, but a lot of us do not know that. The downsize, cost of living was so high. These things are going to continuously make our economy to be on life support. We should resist this tax policy because the money that will be gotten out of it will not even be used for anything. They will just share it amongst themselves, and that's it. And if we allowed it to happen, someone else comes into power and they see that we could allow that to happen, they will do theirs. And it gets worse if you observe the trajectory of the the Fourth Republic. You would see that every other president or every other government got worse. It wouldn't matter whoever it is that is in the position of power, as long as the leaders are aware that they can't be held accountable, they will always get worse. When it was Jonathan, we said it has never been this worse. It got to Buhari, it has never been this worse. Now it is Tinubu, it has never been this worse. The next person that will come, we will still say the same thing. It has never been this worse. The reason is simple. Anybody who occupies power unchecked will get worse than the other person. It's that simple. So we have to be calling these people to order. I've spoken about recalling the National Assembly members. Those are the people who are the eyes of democracy. Those are the people who makes democracy to have some sense. But we don't care. When they do those things they do, we just speak about it on the surface and do nothing. But we can recall our National Assembly members. We can go back to our constituencies and collect signatures of qualified voters. At least, even though you think it might not work, you have to try it. Until you try it, you wouldn't know for sure how it will go. In fact, when they see that people are gathering together in unity, whether it worked or not, it will send shivers to their committee, and then they will start doing something about it. I just said, let me share a piece of my heart about taxation.